Hello, everyone, and welcome to CTAA's Rural Transit Month. I'm Communications Director Rich Sampson, and I'm here with Randy Zobrist, Director of Riverbend Transit in Iowa, and he's also a member of CTAA's Board of Directors. So he's here in Washington with us today as part of our Board of Directors meeting for the spring-winter season. And kind of in conjunction with the numerous profiles we're doing of our members who provide rural transit, we thought we would do one or two by video. And since Randy's here, we thought this would be a great opportunity. So welcome, Randy.
Well, thank you, Rich. I appreciate it.
Great. And just, Randy, if you could tell us a little bit about Riverbend Transit, how many vehicles, how many riders, how many employees you have, those kinds of facts and figures.
Okay. Well, Riverbend Transit is a private not-for-profit designated public transit system, rural public transit system by the Iowa DOT. And we service 4 counties in eastern Iowa. The largest metropolitan area is Davenport and Bettendorf, about 200,000 folks there. The 4 counties are contiguous, and we have been doing this since 1978.
Excellent.
And I've been with the agency since 1998, so approaching my 20th year here. We operate all cutaway vehicles, lift equipped, that provide our services. We do about 1.1 million miles a year. Last fiscal year, we did 215,000 trips.
Great.
We do that with a staff of approximately 95 people. Of that, about 82 are drivers, and the rest are support. And as typical in a rural system, there's only 4 managers, so everybody's wearing a half a dozen different hats.
Exactly, yeah. Rural transit folks have to be pretty flexible in what they do every day, but your focus is providing as much service as you can out there on the streets. Right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And Randy, where are your riders going on your vehicles? Are they going to work? Are they going to healthcare? What type of destinations?
Well, the majority of our rural riders are people with disabilities and our seniors.
Mm-hmm.
We are connecting in Iowa. We have very low population counties. So we are connecting folks to larger communities. Now, then when I say larger in Iowa, I'm talking a community of 5,000
Sure.
people.
But in Iowa, that's
a pretty good sized town.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're also connecting people to locations such as Iowa City, which is a major has major medical services, the VA, hospital, and those types of things. So most of our trips, the average trip lengths that we have for those types of trips are around 30 to 40 miles.
Okay, so pretty good distance, but not atypical for rural transit providers. And then you have some shorter distances to the cities. How about getting people to medical appointments? What are the types of appointments you're getting people to? Dialysis, regular doctor's appointments, all that kind of thing?
Dialysis is about 10% of those medical trips for us.
Okay.
The others are routine, regularly scheduled trips. As I mentioned, the Iowa City trips are those people who have more technically advanced service needs that they have to have.
Sure. So what have you seen the trends in your system since in the time period that you've been there, Randy? How have you seen your Riverbend Transit evolve and change, or is it kind of the same as it always has been?
Well, our disabled riders is fairly consistent. The scope of their trips are fairly consistent, either going from group homes to shelter workshops. Now then, that is changing here, starting now as far as integrated settings and those types of things. So we're looking at having to transition from group trips to handling onesies and twosie trips to outside employments. But the trend that we are recognizing now, and it's a shift in the way that we've done business since 1978, is our senior population, our general public population of riders are looking at having on-demand trips versus pre-scheduled trips.
Sure.
And from a rural provider perspective, that is a 180-degree shift from what we've been doing. But we can't ignore that fact.
Exactly.
And we have to start thinking differently, looking at potentially subcontracting other work so that we can meet some of those demands.
And I know Randy was up on Capitol Hill with a number of our other board members yesterday, kind of reinforcing that trend that's happening not only in rural transit but all transit of on-demand trips. And you hear Randy talking about how customers are expecting a more immediate scheduling of the trip. And just tell us a little bit about the challenges from technology or driver assignment. How does that play out in terms of providing on-demand trips?
Well, from the technology side, in-house and having the technology to do what we do well, we have that in spades.
Okay.
We have that in spades. We are not equipped at all to handle on-demand, same-day trip requests, automatic booking, those types of things. We have the typical situation where we've got 24 hours to a week advance. Here's your manifest. This is what you go do for the day.
Right.
Try not to bump into anything, and we'll see at the end of your run.
Sure.
The challenges that we have is in rural Iowa, there's infrastructure issues, communication issues. Also, the nature of the majority of our riders, 90% of our riders are either persons with disabilities or seniors,
right,
who some of them don't even have email.
Exactly.
And so a smartphone is something that is well beyond them. So we have issues in-house as to if we can we reach them, and if we can, do they have the device to get back to us?
Exactly. So yeah, you have two levels of challenge, and it's going to take some time to understand those things and get people more comfortable with these types of technologies and on-demand service.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I have to credit you all for being proactive and at least acknowledging that that's something that's going to change over the next period. And we know a lot of your peers across the country are grappling with that same way to introduce on-demand technology. But like you said, some areas you don't have cell phone reception, you don't have broadband internet. It's not a small issue to just say you guys should be more like Uber and take on-demand trips. So.
But it's going to have to change. We are going to have to change. Otherwise, we will just slowly see diminishing returns, and we will see the evolution of the population that is going to demand a different way of doing things.
Exactly.
And we have to respond to that.
Well, we will provide resources as your national association and also your state associations do the same to help you grapple with some of these ideas and work with the technologies, work with our vendor partners to start introducing some of these elements. So look forward to some of those resources coming out from us in the future. And you already touched on, Randy, a big trend, which is the on-demand mobility. What other trends do you see coming at rural transit systems like yours over the next 10 to 15 years?
I see the way that we deliver service is probably going to have to change. All of our vehicles are this typical, 16, 18 passenger cutaway vehicle, very institutional looking, which has always had for many years that stigma of it's that bus and it's not for me, not for general public. I think we need to take a look at actually our fleet configuration. I think that we need to start looking at smaller but accessible vehicles that have got a more attractive impression to them.
Sure, and often that will hopefully come with some better fuel efficiency too.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, I think that's a good overview of what a lot of rural transit systems are facing, and we thank you, Randy, for sharing some details on Riverbend Transit. Anything else you'd like to share with the viewers at home?
No, just that CTAA will be used by Riverbend Transit from that technical assistance side, and we're looking forward to the resources that you have available that can help us.
Well, thanks again, Randy, and thanks for tuning in. You'll see more coverage throughout this month, and at the end, look for how we compile all these resources into one place, and stay tuned for more of these topics that we talked about today. So thanks again for tuning in, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Rich.